स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. Namaskar to all of you. Welcome to the study of Ramakrishna, the Great Master. Yesterday we have gone through the wonderful description of what is the principle of Guru, the idea behind Guru concept, and it gave us so much of solace that the Lord comes to us taking or using the pure and perfected human body to reach to us to help us. Now we shall further study what our Shardanandaji Maharaj wants to tell. Shardanandaji Maharaj is explaining, one feels in one's heart of hearts that such manifestation of power does not belong to any mortal man, but to God alone. Only then do the scales of dross and delusion fall off from the eyes of those who suffer from this world disease and who consequently go in pursuit of false values. They cry out then in an outburst of joy, O Master, thou art not man, thou art he. Therefore, we see it. We see it is the universal mother who manifests herself as the exalted divine power and removes all kinds of impurities due to spiritual ignorance from the human mind. This is what is called the mood or power of the spiritual teacher. That is the bhava, guru bhava, the mood of the spiritual teacher or the power of the spiritual teacher. The guru bhava or the guru shakti. It is this divine power, shakti, which the scriptures speak of as the spiritual teacher. And it is to this power that man is called upon to offer his heart's reverence and adoration with unflinching faith. The human mind that is conversant with the gross world only and is just learning the first lesson in devotion and reverence cannot, of course, love a bodiless, intangible power. And it is for this reason that the scriptures advise us to look upon the person who initiates us into this life divine as the Guru and to have devotion to his personality, seeing the real divine Guru in and through him. Seeing the real divine Guru in and through him. Therefore, to those who say that they have reverence and adoration for the power manifesting as a spiritual teacher, but cannot on that account alone bow their heads in reverence and devotion to the body through which that power manifests itself, to those who thus make a distinction between the power and the medium of its manifestation, our reply is a grave warning that they should not fall a prey to self deception by discriminating between the unseen power and its unseen medium of manifestation and pretend to pay homage to the unseen while neglecting to do so to its seen manifestation. The difference itself is as thin and indistinct as that between fire and its burning power, and as to the act of adoration of the unseen and the unknown, the least said the best. How can one of the two be adorned and the other rejected? A man who loves or admires somebody feels special attachment for even a trifling thing used by his beloved. He considers even a flower touched by him, or a piece of cloth worn, or a small thing used by him as sacred. The very ground he treads is regarded by him to be very dear and precious. Does it then need to be explained that he will have a natural reverence for that body through which he accepts his worship and bestows grace on him? Those who disagree do not understand at all what is meant by the mood, the Guru Bhava or Guru Shakti of the spiritual teacher. For one who has true devotion to that power cannot but have devotion to the encasing body also, the receptacle of that power, the instrument of that power. Sri Ramakrishna used to illustrate this point by citing the example of Vibhishana. We all know about Vibhishana in the Ramayana. He is one of the Chiranjeevis who is living eternally by the grace of Lord Ramachandra. So, of the two people who have served Sri Ramachandra, Hanuman and Vibhishana are Chiranjeevis because they served the Lord, though he was the younger brother of Ravana. He advised Ravana to give up the wrong path and give up Mother Sita to Rama and surrender. But he didn't agree. He knew that was wrong. He tried his level best. Then, when Ravana was not agreeing or willing, he gave up that side. He gave up that group or people and just went to the Lord. So you can see in Mahabharata, the later happenings in the Dwapara Yuga, Vibhishana was in the Treta Yuga, long before. But whenever there was unrighteousness, whenever he was to choose between the righteousness and the unrighteousness, the discrimination, he used his wonderful discrimination, Viveka, and he first advised, he didn't give up his brother and his people. He tried his level best when he was insulted, when he was beaten, when he was thrown out, and then only he gave up Ravana. He tried his level best to transform him. Then he took to the side of righteousness. Whereas the great devotee who gave Vishnu Sahasranama, Bhishmacharya, the great Bhishma, the grandsire, though you knew Kauravas were on the wrong side, though you knew they were doing so many mistakes, though he knew Lord Krishna was the avatara and he takes the side of only the righteous, he couldn't decide to give up the unrighteous or at least punish them, try to correct them and switch over to the righteousness. He fought, he stood on the side of the unrighteousness. And you can see the result. Though Bhishmacharya had the boon of Ichchamaranatva. What is that Ichchamaranatva? He could die whenever he wanted. So he could have lived long, any amount of year, because of that boon, Ichchamaranatva. But he had to die with so much of suffering, pain on the battlefield, lying on the Sharashaya, the bed of arrows, seeing his own kith and kin dying, the sufferings and everything, the dead bodies. Why? Because he chose to be on the right side of unrighteousness. And he was the human being, and he was the avatar of Ashtavasus. Then he had so many wonderful qualities. But since he couldn't decide which, though he was so well read, highly educated in Dharma Shastras and everything, but he couldn't decide. He didn't make the will of joining the side of righteousness, giving up the unrighteous. So such a bad pain and death before he gave up the body. And he couldn't live long. But Vibhishana, though he was a asura, a demon from the family of demons, because he did the work of Lord Ramachandra, he took to the side of righteousness. He gave away the people, though they were his kith and kin, his own elder brother. So he was not attached to the people, but he was attached to the principle, the righteousness. So he gave up Ramana, took to the side of Ramachandra, because Ramachandra was on the righteousness. And not only he is still living, he is a Chiranjeevi, eternally living. So he got the grace of Ramachandra. Ramachandra made him the king of Sri Lanka, coronated him, though he refused. No. In future, the people will ask, you have done the service of Ramachandra. You took, taken the, he gave up your own family and took to the side of Ramachandra, righteousness. What did the Lord reward you? So when the people ask, they should be in a position to know that the Lord will reward the righteous. At the worldly level, they will be always feeling, what did I get? What did I get? So let at least there'll be a chance for the people to know this. So you should be the king. He forced him to become the king. So that was Vibhishan, though a demon, though he was born into that family, though he was the younger brother of Ravana, he served Ramachandra. He took to the right side of righteousness. He had the right Viveka. We are now studying on every Tuesdays the Viveka Chudamani, the crest jewel of discrimination. So you see, he chose between the right and the wrong, good and the bad, to the good and to the right, righteousness. That was Vibhishana. So now Ramakrishna uses to illustrate this point about the Guru Shakti, or the power of the Guru Bhava. So to illustrate this point, he cites the example of Vibhishana, the great demon devotee of Ramachandra, who served him, who did Ramakarya, the work of Ramachandra. He said at one time, long after Sri Ramachandra gave up his body, a boat sank and a man was thrown by the waves on the coast of Lanka. Vibhishana is immortal and has been ruling over Sri Lanka through the 3 cycles of time since Ravana's passing away. The news reached him. The mouth of many of the Rakshasas in the assembly began to water at the news of the coming of the dainty morsel, the human body, because the demons would eat the human flesh. But this brought about an extraordinary mood in Vibhishana, the king. He began to say again and again with tears in his eyes and voice choked with devotion, oh, what a good luck! Oh, what good fortune! The Rakshasas couldn't understand his feeling and were dumbfounded. Then Vibhishana explained, it's not a, is it not a rare good fortune that after a very, very long time, I shall get today the opportunity of seeing a human body, such as the one which my Lord Ramachandra set his foot on Lanka and blessed me? So it was the Lord, my Ishtadevata, my Ramachandra, the Lord of the universe. He had taken that human body. So that human body, it may be another person, but since Ramachandra had taken that human body and blessed me, came to Lanka, set his foot on this kingdom of ours and blessed me. So another such human body has come, associated with that thought of the body of Sri Ramachandra. He was so overwhelmed to see another human body because it is associated with Ramachandra. Oh, what a good luck! Oh, what good fortune! The Rakshasas could not understand his feeling and were dumbfounded. Vibhishana then explained, is it not a rare good fortune that after a very long time I shall get today the opportunity of seeing a human body, such as the one in which my Ramachandra, my Lord Rama, set his foot on Lanka and blessed me? It seems to me that Lord Ramachandra himself is coming in that manner. So even any that after so many years, a human body associated with the human body of Ramachandra. So he's feeling happy that Ramachandra himself has come. It seems to me that Ramachandra himself is coming in this manner. Saying so, the king came to the coast with all his ministers, courtiers, and other nobles, and took the man to the palace with great love and reverence. Then the king seated him on the throne, and together with his family began to serve and worship him like an obedient servant. He kept him there at Lanka for some time and made presents of jewels and other precious articles, bade him goodbye, and sent him home escorted by his servants. Now, here this story makes us clear in our mind how can devotion to the Lord, make us feel to remember the Lord even at the trifling things which can associate our mind to that particular object of love, object of devotion. So, how devotees can connect everything and anything from the trifling thing to Ramachandra. Suppose you see a bow, immediately you can remember Lord Ramachandra. He was just a human body because they were demons, Rakshasas. So you could remember the Lord. Then the Lord has so many other accessories. So everything can make you remember the Lord. So we have to remember Ramakrishna himself cites it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he saw a person, a villager in his native village or somewhere in India while he was going, he saw was carrying an axe. So he remembered immediately Lord Krishna and went into Samadhi. How come? How can an axe make him remember Lord Krishna? He's going to cut the tree with the axe. Yeah, the axe had the wood handle. That wood handle was made out of the tree of Tamaluka tree, under which Lord Krishna used to sit in Vrindavan. So, Lord Krishna, when he was in Vrindavan grazing the cows, he used to sit under the tree of Tamaluk, and that tree might have gone long back, and that Tamaluk trees, it is no way connected. But another Tamaluk tree has been cut, and that handle of the axe has been made to cut the tree. So that makes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to remember Lord Krishna associated with that. So see the devotion. Any trifling thing can take you mind if you practice in that way. If you have the devotion to the Lord, it can take you there. So that's why the Guru, the body of the Guru, it can make us remember that Satchit Ananda, because it is that Satchit Ananda, the real power, the power of the Ishvara, which using that instrument of the Guru has blessed me. So we have to revere that external receptacle too. That's what Shardanandaji Maharaj is telling about the Guru. So now, by this example of Vibhishana, Ramakrishna's story, Shardanandaji Maharaj is trying to impress upon us. How does this work scientifically? Have you not heard of the Pavlov's law of association. One psychologist, a scientist from Russia, used to conduct this experiment. It's called Pavlov's law of association. What would he do? He used to he used to have a dog. He used to daily give it food after ringing the bell. So the ringing of the bell, and then he used to give it food. The ringing of the bell, he used to give the food. So it went on for so many days. After maybe a year or 6 months, the dog was habituated in such a way. Then the next day he did not give the food. He just rang the bell. Then the dog started salivating. So much of saliva started coming out of its mouth, and people wondered, how is it? Because the dog, an animal, associated of taking its food, delicious food, with the ringing of the bell. So the ringing of the bell could induce that it is going to get the food, delicious food to eat. So automatically, the whole system in the dog started bringing out saliva. So we use this law, or we inadvertently, or even without our knowledge, unconsciously or impulsively, we use this law of association to take our mind to the worldly things. But if that converted into directed towards Lord, that itself can liberate us, bring us the memory of the Lord. So the Pavlov's law of association, we can understand that we can associate God, we can associate many things which were connected to God to remember God and feel happy. So that's what here the Guru, the body of the Guru, can make us remember that Satchit Ananda, indivisible existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute, infinite. So, finishing the story, Sri Ramakrishna remarked, this happens when there is true devotion. You have to note this. This is very, very important. When can this happen? When can you associate even trifling things of this world to remember God and go towards God? Ramakrishna himself is citing. Ramakrishna himself is telling, finishing the story of the Vibhishana, Sri Ramakrishna remarked, says Shardanandaji Maharaj, who has directly seen everything and heard from Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna's words in inverted commas, direct speech. This happens when there is true devotion. One then remembers God through the association of even a trifling thing and becomes filled with love and devotion. So we need to have that true devotion, true feeling of devotion that can change our whole world. Is this not the change of attitude, the change of our outlook? One of our teachers, an expert in neuroscience, in her class, she will be mentioning that again and again. If you change the way you look at the world will change. If you can change the way you look at the world, you can change the world. So it's all in your attitude. Your attitude can change the whole world. So change is always within, not without. We always try to go and change the world and suffer and suffer. We will put others to trouble and we will also be troubled. But on the contrary, if we go on changing ourselves, the whole world outside too changes. So Ramakrishna is telling after finishing his story, one then remembers God through the association of even a trifling thing and becomes filled with love and devotion. Again, Ramakrishna is citing another example. He's telling, haven't you heard that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in ecstasy, saying, "Ah, drums are made of this earth. Drums are made of this earth." One day, while he was passing through a certain place, he was told that the people of that village maintained themselves by making and selling the drums that were played at the time of singing the Lord's name. As soon as he heard it, he exclaimed, "Ah, drums are made of this earth." And saying so, he immediately passed into ecstasy and lost normal consciousness. For there was that there was the association of Lord Krishna and the Kirtan through that to his Ishtadevata Lord Krishna. So you can change whole your life. So even by seeing any human being, your father, your mother, your brother, your husband, your wife, your children, so in them too it's the same Lord, the Satchit Ananda manifested in its full form. So the moment you see anybody, it should remind you of the Lord and you should serve them with devotion. So if you have devotion, true devotion, if you are a real devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, if you are really following the principles of Sri Ramakrishna, then you should start implementing that wonderful practical Vedantic teaching of Sri Ramakrishna, Shivajnane Jiva Seva, Shivajnane Jiva Seva. When Vivekananda had the desire that he should be sitting in Samadhi always and once in a while, after 3 or 4 days or a week, weekly once, he should come down to the plane of normal consciousness, take some food to maintain this body, and again go back to yoga, sitting in Samadhi. So everybody would think that his Gurudeva, Ramakrishna, would become very happy. He's always so desirous of staying in yoga. But what was the comment of Sri Ramakrishna? Ah, such a mean-mindedness. Hina buddhi, Shudra buddhi. What a puny mind you have. You are bothered about, you are so selfish to bother about your own liberation. I thought you would become a Vatavriksha, a very big banyan tree or a peepal tree, and give shade under your branches, the cool shade for so many living beings. And you would give so many place for those animals and birds to stay on your branches. But you are behaving like an ordinary selfish human being, just seeking your own happiness of samadhi and liberation. Then after that, Ramakrishna told Swami Vivekananda or then Narendra that there is a higher state. There is a higher state than the samadhi. What is that? After enjoying or seeing the Lord, after realizing that Parabrahma, when you come down to the ordinary level, you will start seeing it is the same Lord who is manifested everywhere. And seeing that Lord in all the living beings, then you start serving them. Seeing the Lord in all the living beings and then serving them, according to Sri Ramakrishna, he tells that that is a higher state than samadhi. And Sri Ramakrishna has given this knowledge now itself for us. Why should we aspire for samadhi? Let us do that which is more beneficial, more higher than samadhi. That is seeing the Lord, Shivajnane Jiva Seva, seeing the Lord in all the living beings and then serving them. Why should we wait? That itself will lead us as quickly because this attitude is very, very important. So you can convert this very place of yours, this house of yours, or any place wherever you go, you will be carrying the Vaikunta or Kailasa or the Turiya Avastha. You'll be creating happiness million times more greater heaven wherever you go with this attitude, seeing the Lord in every living being and serving them. Why don't we practice? We only practice the negative thing, finding fault with others, hurting them, hurting ourselves, hurting everybody, paining everybody. Why don't we understand this? We are making new karmas by this. Already we are suffering. We have so much of suffering because of so much of hurt we have done to other living beings in our previous birth or in this very birth. And now, even after going forward in spiritual life, knowing so many things, we don't want to give up that old habit. We are so attached to this old habit of finding fault and hurting others. Just give it up as quickly as possible. Start seeing, forget about all other things. Life is too short. We cannot waste our time in experimenting many other things. The highest has been given by the Lord Himself. The greatest of the Avatara has given that highest. Why can't we practice that quickly, immediately? The Lord will help you even if you keep one step forward towards the Lord. Lord has promised that He will come 10 steps. Though His promise may be if you keep one step, He will come 10 steps towards us. He may come even 100 steps, 1,000 steps towards us. That is grace. That is what is called grace of the Lord. If you keep one step towards Him, I told that our self effort is directly proportional to God's grace. But here, it's not directly proportional. It's not even inversely proportional. It is more than that. It is, you can make an amendment telling that to the cube root 4 times. So 5 times, 10 times, 1,000 times power of. So that is directly proportional to the effort you put in. Grace is directly proportional to the effort you put in, maybe multiplied by 1,000 times or even million times. That's why start. Give up this. That's why Holy Mother has told her last message. My dear child, if you want peace of mind, stop seeing fault in others. Rather, you can correct your own faults. None is a stranger. The whole world is yours. See, the highest Advaita Vedantic teaching, what you learn in Samadhi, is here in the teaching of Holy Mother. She had that. She is the Divine Mother. What is that? Nobody is a stranger. Because all the living beings is the same Atman, the Paramatman, the Parabrahma Swarupa, Satchit Ananda manifested there. How can you see fault? You are only seeing the bundle of character. The human being or the animals are not the bundle of character, but rather the Atman, the Satchit Ananda, which is them. Why are you seeing that fault, the bundle of character? Anytime it can change. Go to that which doesn't change the Lord and change your whole life for good. So that's what here, association, we can use it with our Guru, with every living being, and then make our life blessed and realize the highest. No need of making a hard yoga and other things, getting that samadhi. Even the result of the samadhi, after the result of the samadhi, the Vijnana Avastha himself itself has been given away. The secret of the Vijnana Avastha itself has been given away by Sri Ramakrishna. Why don't we make use of this opportunity? More higher than samadhi has been given to see the Lord in all the living beings and serving them. He is even higher than samadhi. So why can't we do that? Why can't we serve them? Why can't give up the fault and do that? What is troubling us? What is not allowing us? So let us continue to see what Sri Ramakrishna is trying to tell through his life and teachings. And so nicely Shardanandaji Maharaj is interpreting that and giving to us for takeaway to pack and give us things so beautifully, packeted things. Ah, drums are made of this earth, and saying so, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately passed into ecstasy and lost normal consciousness. For there was the association of this earth, drums are made. The drums are played at the time of the singing. The name of Hari, the Hari, that Hari is the life of life in all. Not this. Pranasya prana is greater than your prana, the life force. So the name of the Lord. So here Ramakrishna is mentioning the name of Hari, one who attracts our Heart is called Hari. Hara is also the same thing. Shiva or Hari or Vishnu, it's the same thing. Durga. So the Lord is the one who is the life of our life. Pranasya Prana. He is the life in all, more beautiful than the most beautiful. He is the more beautiful than the most beautiful who is living in everybody. All these thoughts at once passed through his mind, and it became completely concentrated on Lord Hari. A man who has such devotion to his Guru, a man or a woman, a person who has such devotion to his Guru cannot but remember him through association, not only when he sees his relatives, the relatives of the Guru, but also when he sees an ordinary man of the Guru's native village. And out of his respect for the Guru, he salutes the villager, takes the dust of his feet, feeds him, and serves him in every way. When this state of mind is reached, one does not see any shortcomings in one's spiritual teacher. That is true devotion. Then the truth of the proverb. Then the truth of the proverb, my spiritual teacher is Nityananda, that is the divine Lord who is of the nature of eternal bliss. That is called Nitya. Always, Nitya means always, eternal. Ananda means bliss. So, my teacher, my spiritual teacher is Nityananda. That is the divine Lord who is the nature of eternal bliss, even if he frequents a tavern. What's a tavern? A pub, a place where one consumes alcohol. So, what is this beautiful saying? Then the truth of the proverb. There was a proverb in Bengal. Ramakrishna is mentioning this proverb. What is that? My spiritual teacher is Nityananda. If even if he frequents a tavern, my guru may be a drunkard or a drug addict or the worst of the person of vices, but even with all those bad qualities, he is still Nityananda. My spiritual teacher is Nityananda, even if he frequents a tavern. Nothing to worry about the externals. You just see the internals. What is that? The company called Intel. They will be always advertising, telling that in all the computer processors, the motherboard, so they have their Intel chip. I was recently talking to one hmm, person who works for the Intel. So I was asking, what is that made? What is that? How is that silicon put in the form of the processor into the computer? I was getting the detail. So that advertisement, Intel inside. So like that, in all the living beings, it is the Atman inside. There, if in the computer, in the processor, or in the motherboard, it is the chip of the Intel there, Intel inside. Likewise, it is the Atman, the Parabrahman, the Lord Satchit Ananda, who is inside in all the living beings. So the proverb goes to the extent, and Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning to the extremes. And what is that? Then the truth of the proverb. My spiritual teacher, he may be a drunkard, he may be a drug addict, he may be the person of vices. So what? For me, that is not a botheration. I'm not worried about that. For me, he is Satchit Ananda, infinite knowledge, bliss, existence, absolute, Akhanda Satchidananda, the Parabrahma, the Lord. Why should I see the externals? So Ramakrishna is mentioning, going to the extent. Then the truth of the proverb, my spiritual teacher is Nityananda, even if he frequents a tavern, applies to him. Otherwise, a human being cannot but have good and bad qualities. But just as everything looks yellow, but just as everything looks yellow to a jaundiced eye, suppose we get the disease of jaundice, what happens is the bile starts secreting more and it starts flowing to the bloodstream, and the bloodstream carries it everywhere. It even comes to the eyes, the blood flow to the eyes, and there also there will be this bile coming. So the whole world will start looking to us as yellow. Everywhere we see yellow and yellow, yellow everywhere. So Ramakrishna is giving this wonderful example. Just as everything looks yellow to a jaundiced eye, so he, owing to his overflowing devotion to the Lord, sees God and not man in the Guru. His devotion then shows him that it is God who has become the whole universe. So, outside, whatever may be your Guru, your devotion can change your life. Your faith can change your life. Another wonderful example given by Sri Ramakrishna there was one priest living on an island. It was surrounded by the river, and it was difficult for the milkmaid, the small girl, to bring the milk from the other village and give it to the priest there. It so happened the river was in spate, nobody could cross. So that girl used to be late during that period of floods or rainy season to come. It was difficult, she couldn't come. When she was late, she was scolded. That girl was scolded by this priest. What is this? Why are you late? Why did you bring the milk so late? The girl told the reason that the river is in spate. No boatman agrees to cross. It's very dangerous. So, with great difficulty, paying a little more money to the boatman, I had to cross it. So, I was late. Sorry for that. But he scolded her, chided her. What? By taking the name of the Lord, people can cross the Bhavasagara, the ocean of this world, samsara, and you cannot cross this small river. The ocean, which has so much of waves and storm, can be crossed. The ocean of Bhavasagara can be crossed by the name of the God, and you cannot cross this small river by the name of the Lord. So he just scolded for the sake of scolding. Just like the small children in the houses will be telling God's promise. They put the hand on that. God's promise, mother promise, father's promise, they will tell God's promise. So like that, they don't mean it. They just go on babbling something. Like that, this priest also told what people cross the Bhavasagara, the ocean of samsara, transmigratory existence, with the name of the Lord, and you cannot cross this small river with the name of the Lord. The girl had faith. The priest may not have the faith there. He just told out of his anger or something, it blurted out something. She took it. She had so much of intense faith. Next day, she was even earlier than time. That day, the storm was too much. It was impossible to cross. The storm was very high. The wind was so much. Then he was surprised. How did you cross? Oh, priest, you told yesterday that you can cross even Bhavasagara by the name of the Lord. So I repeated the name of the Lord and I started walking on the river and came this side with my milk to give you the milk. She walked on water. She walked on all that storm and came here. No need of a boat. Surprised. He couldn't believe his own words. And he told, I want to see. Please demonstrate it. Then she took the name of the Lord, repeating the name of the Lord. She started walking to the other side and came back. Then she told, come, priest G, please come. You can also do that. He too started taking the name of the Lord. Then he started keeping his leg with great fear. The moment he kept, he fell down and drowned and again came up. Then the girl was telling, oh, priest G, don't worry about your dhoti, your cloth, that garment which you wear on the lower part of your body in India, that's called dhotra, veshti. The upper part is called uttariya. So he was worried about that it becomes wet. He was not worried about God, faith in God. He was worried about his dhoti attached to his dhoti. He didn't have faith. So he got drowned and he had to come up with great difficulty. The girl has to help him. But that girl, innocent girl, uneducated girl, this great priest was a pandita, scholar. He had so much of knowledge of the scriptures, but never had faith. He just babbled out something. But that girl had faith, and just with the words, with the name of the Lord, because of her faith, she could cross that river. So, faith, don't worry about who is your guru, what are his bodily imperfections, whoever it might be. Just see the Lord in him, and then you will move forward in spiritual life. That is very, very necessary. That's what, by this telling of Sri Ramakrishna, then the truth of the proverb, my spiritual teacher is Nityananda, even if he frequents a tavern, applies to him. Otherwise, a human being cannot but have good and bad qualities. But just as everything looks yellow to a jaundiced eye, so he, owing to his overflowing devotion to the Lord, sees God and not man in the Guru. His devotion then shows him that it is God. These are all the words which we have to safely keep in our heart and start practicing it. What is Sri Ramakrishna is telling? Very, very important. His devotion then shows him that it is God who has become the whole universe. Then the devotion of the devotee shows him that it is God who has become this whole universe. It is He alone who has become the spiritual teacher, Guru. It is He alone who has become Father. It is He alone who has become Mother. It is He alone who has become man, the cattle, all the living beings, everything, sentient or insentient. Just like the Mahavakya, just like the Upanishads, just like the Vedas, it's more than that. Vedas have been given by the rishis, the ordinary saints who have perfected their life and become Jivan Muktas, and they are giving the truths that we revere as the greatest scriptures, and we have so much of faith in that. But now the Lord Himself, in the form of the Avatara, Bhagavad Gita has been given by Lord Krishna Himself. That's why it is kept on par or even greater than the Vedas, because the Vedas are given by the rishis, though it is eternal and it has been given by the Lord Himself. But the direct from the it is issued, the Bhagavad Gita is issued from the mouth of the Lord Himself. Likewise, the Lord now in this Kali Yuga as the Avatara, as Sri Ramakrishna, the Avatara has given you these words. It is more than those scriptures, and it is true 200%. Why can't you start practicing it? Why can't you reap the benefit of it and transform your life, your house, and everything? Other people too by your behavior. Well, what are we waiting for? What are we attached to? What do we want to prove? What more? Dharma. I've heard some person telling, oh, that is not dharma. This is not dharma. According to dharma, that son should behave like this wife should, this dharma. But he's not worried about his own dharma. He has forgotten his own dharma. He wants to remind everybody else's dharma. So, what is the dharma? What is your righteousness? Lord Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Give up all your dharma, dharma, duties, and other things, and surrender it at my feet. I will take care of all those dharmas. I will see that you will follow dharma. Lord Krishna promises in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. What a wonderful statement. And now Ramakrishna is giving this highest truth, the highest Vedantic truth, simple language, no complication, no sutras, no Sanskrit. So simple. What is real? The Lord is telling. Please note it. Start practicing it. So Ramakrishna is telling his devotion, the devotion of the devotee, the bhakti, the love of the devotee, then shows that person, shows him or her that it is God. That is God alone who has become this whole universe. Any proof? sarvam khalvidam brahma ईशावास्यम idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyan jagat tena tyaktena bunjita. That's the different line. Ishawasyam idam sarvam sarvam khalu idam brahma. So even through devotion you can find everything. By devotion, even though you are not a scholar, you have not read a letter of Sanskrit, do not worry. By devotion you can achieve anything. Ramakrishna has made it so simple, so easy. And if you don't make use of it, who is the loser, the greatest of the losers? At least some people who are innocent, we have only 40 people, 40 screens watching here. People outside, they may not know about these things. So after knowing the truth, after getting into contact with the words of Sri Ramakrishna, hearing those, if you don't put it into practice and make use of those words, who is the loser? Who is the unluckiest person if you don't put it into practice? After getting the highest truth, we are the worst losers. So hear it again and again. Always Shravana, now you have heard it by Ramakrishna's mouth, holy lips. You have heard it from Sharadanandaji Maharaj. Help. And what is that? You have to etch it in your heart. His devotion, your devotion, then shows that person, man or woman or a child, whoever, that it is God and God alone who has become this whole universe. It is He alone, the Lord alone, who has become the spiritual teacher, Guru. The Lord alone has become the Father. The Lord alone has become the Mother. The Lord alone has become the man. The Lord alone has become the cattle, the animals, and all the living beings. Everything, sentient or insentient. Why sentient? Even insentient, Sri Ramakrishna is telling. His devotion then shows him that it is God who has become the whole universe. It is He alone who has become the spiritual teacher, Guru, Father, Mother, man, cattle, everything, sentient or insentient. What a wonderful truth. The highest truth has been given. What more do we want? Why are we waiting? This second we have to implement it. One day at Dakshineshwar, an arrogant but sincere young devotee, Vaikuntanath Sanyal, was raising objections against what Sri Ramakrishna was telling him. He was arguing, he was raising objections. Vaikuntanath Sanyal. One day at Dakshineshwar, an arrogant but sincere young devotee, Vaikuntanath Sanyal, was raising objections against what Sri Ramakrishna was telling him. Vaikuntanath Sanyal, he continued arguing even when Sri Ramakrishna had repeated his statement several times. The devotee, sincere devotee, but was arrogant, he continued arguing with Sri Ramakrishna even when Sri Ramakrishna had repeated his statement several times, at which he gave him a mild rebuke, and said, "What sort of a man are you?" Isn't this rebuke for us also? Isn't it for us too? Ramakrishna's mild rebuke. Let us direct it towards ourselves. What sort of a man are you? I say it again and again, and still you don't accept it. What sort of a man are you? What sort of a devotee are you? Ramakrishna is rebuking mildly. I say it again and again, and still you don't accept it. The heart of the young man was touched. The heart of that young man, sincere young man, but arrogant, Vaikuntha Sanyal, his heart was touched. And he said, when you say it, I accept it, of course. When you say it, I accept it, of course. It was for the sake of argument. It was for the sake of argument that I spoke thus. On hearing this, Sri Ramakrishna smilingly said with an expression of delight in his face, Do you know? Do you know what devotion to the spiritual teacher is like? Do you know what devotion to the spiritual teacher is like? One endowed with it is certain to perceive immediately. One endowed with the devotion to the Guru, it is certain to perceive immediately whatever the spiritual teacher mentions. By the devotion to the Guru, one endowed with that Guru Bhakti, do you know what devotion to the spiritual teacher Guru is like? One endowed with the Guru Bhakti, with it is certain to perceive immediately whatever the spiritual teacher mentions. Arjuna had that devotion. Arjuna had the devotion towards Lord Krishna. One day, while driving with Arjuna in a chariot, one day, while driving with Arjuna in a chariot, Krishna looked at the sky and sea and said, one day, while Krishna and Arjuna were traveling in the chariot, Krishna looked at the sky and said, because Arjuna had so much of devotion towards Krishna, highest regard as he was his guru, though they were friends, Sakha earlier, after the Bhagavad Gita, his transformation, after the Lord gave in that high state the Bhagavad Gita, he considered Krishna as his guru. So he was so much devoted to Krishna, he would obey him whatever he used to tell. So one day, while driving with Arjuna in a chariot, Krishna looked at the sky and said, See, friend, how beautiful is the flock of pigeons flying there. See, friend, Sakha, hey Arjuna, see, friend, because they were of equal age. So they were friends. Arjuna and Krishna were friends, equal age. Bhima was elder. So Krishna used to go and touch the feet of Bhima because he was elder, to show that we have to respect our elders. So to Dharmaraya Yudhishthira also Krishna used to go and touch his feet because he was elder. Arjuna used to not touch, or Krishna used to not touch the feet of Arjuna because they were equal in age. So they used to embrace each other as friends. Whereas Sahadeva, Nakula Sahadeva are younger in age. So they used to come and touch the feet of Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna has shown us how to respect our elders. In India, in so many places, especially in North India and some portions of South India, we see whenever any elder in the family comes, whether mother or father or anybody, any elder, they go and touch the feet of them. Why? Because the Lord exists in them, respecting that Lord. So now, Arjuna, because of his devotion to Lord Krishna, he used to just obey, he used to see, he used to have 200% faith in Lord Krishna's word. One day, while driving with Arjuna in a chariot, Krishna looked at the sky and said, See, my friend, see how beautiful is the flock of pigeons flying there. Arjuna saw it and immediately said, Yes, yes, friend, very beautiful pigeons indeed. Yes, friend, very beautiful pigeons indeed. The very next moment, Sri Krishna looked again and said, How strange, friend, they are by no means pigeons. Arjuna saw them and said, quite so, friend. They are not pigeons at all. Now try to understand the matter. Now try to understand the matter. Arjuna's truthfulness was unquestionable. Arjuna's truthfulness was unquestionable. He could never have flattered Krishna when he said so. Arjuna's truthfulness was unquestionable. He could never have flattered Krishna when he said so. But he had such great devotion. But he had such great devotion, faith in Lord Krishna. But he had such great devotion to him and faith in his words. What he actually saw, what he actually saw with his eyes, whatever Krishna described to him, real or fanciful. So he saw whatever Krishna told, even though it was not pigeons, he could see pigeons because it is uttered by Krishna. He could really see it. That was the faith, that was the devotion in Krishna to Arjuna. It was not untruthful because Arjuna was stationed in truthfulness, sthita, satyavrata. So Arjuna's truthfulness was unquestionable. Could never have flattered Krishna when he said so, but he had such great devotion to him and faith in his words. What he actually saw with his eyes, whatever Krishna described to him, real or fanciful, he saw actually pigeons. Why? Because it was uttered by Krishna. It has to be true. The Lord cannot tell untruth. So he saw that faith, though it was not true. Then Krishna corrected, oh, by mistake, I said it is pigeon. It is not pigeon. It is some other bird. Oh, is it? Yes, that I'm seeing that. It's not just just like yes minister telling to yes to everything. No, that is not the idea. It was very truthful. It is not flattering. But his faith and devotion to Krishna was so much that he actually saw pigeons there. So if you have devotion, it is all within you. It's not without. Even the same Lord comes, the greatest of Guru comes and tells you something if you don't have faith. It was Lord Krishna who was telling Duryodhana to give up his haughtiness, ego, and give what the share of the kingdom to the Pandavas. He was well read in the scriptures. Duryodhana was a very educated, highly educated king. He knew Dharma Shastra, he knew the scriptures, everything. But his ego was so strong. He didn't obey Krishna. He wanted to arrest Krishna. He wanted to punish and put him in the jail. So faith. Your ego will not bring you the faith. Ego is the main cause. Your ego is the main cause. Ego is Maya, Ramakrishna tells. Ego is Maya. Ego is Ajnana, Avidya. Ego is the main culprit, will not allow you to have faith. And you want to become the slave of your ego, dasa of your ego, or you want to become the slave of the Lord or your Guru. So how nicely Sri Ramakrishna is trying to bring faith. It's not yes minister attitude, namby-pamby attitude. No, faith, faith. It should come from within. For acting sake or to please somebody's sake, even if it tells, oh, the rabbit has a horn. If somebody tells, because to flatter him, you'll tell, yeah, there's a horn to the rabbit. You don't see it. That's not the idea here. You have to be very, very careful. That's not the idea. Then you should not become such a person of flattery. Because you have selfishness there, you want something from him, either money or some favor. So you will go on telling whatever he tells. No, that is not the idea. Yeah, Arjuna was a man of truthfulness. He sees really what Krishna is telling because he has faith, he has devotion. So devotion and faith can bring him wonderful change of attitude in you. And that's why Ramakrishna himself gives another example. And what is that? When the mother tells the child, he's your brother. He may be his brother, he may not be his brother. The child will believe 200%. 100% was what the mother tells. It will, after that, act accordingly as his brother. No doubt, no iota of doubt. The baby will behave like that. He's your sister. Finished. The baby will obey the mother. Faith, 100% faith in the child, in the mother. But as he grows up, his ego develops. And now, whatever the mother or the father tells, he will doubt. He'll start thinking. Why? It's because of the ego. The ego is the culprit. So faith and devotion, not the wrong thing. So don't go on believing everybody and anybody. Only words of the scriptures, only words of the Guru, your mantra diksha Guru, not everybody and anybody. Not every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Only your Guru and the scriptures and the words of the Lord's Bhagavad Gita. There the faith, what is told is that one. Guru Vakyasya, Shastra Vakyasya, Shraddha. That is important. Guru Vakyasya, the words of your Guru, Mantra Diksha Guru, only Mantra Diksha Guru. And Shastra Vakya, scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads. These are the Shastra Vakyas. So the words of the Lord should have faith, the great devotion. You will understand as you get devotion, as you get faith, you will also understand all those things. So if, as the scriptures point out, the spiritual teaches power to remove the darkness of ignorance, if, as the scriptures point out, the spiritual teaches power to remove the darkness of ignorance, Gushabdasya andakara, Rushabdasya nivaranam. So Gu means andakara, ignorance, the darkness of ignorance, darkness, Gu. Rushabdasya nivaranam, one who removes the darkness by the spiritual knowledge, the light of knowledge, is called Guru. So you will be repeating that in Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu. Agnana timirandasya gnananjana shalakaya chakshuran nilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Agnana timirandasya gnananjana shalakaya chakshuran militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Agnana timira, andha, the darkness of this agnana, ignorance. Gnananjana shalakaya, by the knowledge of light, by the light of knowledge. Chakshurunmilitam yena. So he opens our eyes, inner eyes, to the reality. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. I bow down to that Guru. So if, as the scriptures point out, the spiritual teacher's power to remove the darkness of ignorance is understood to be a special power of God Himself, a special power of God Himself in the manner spoken of above, then another fact also must simultaneously be admitted as true, and that is this: the spiritual teacher is one and not many. The spiritual teacher is one and not many, although the receptacles of this power are the bodies through which it is manifested are different. So it's the same one Satchit Ananda Parabrahma Rishwara, same one Guru. The principle of Guru is manifesting through the body of your Guru. That's all. It's not many. My Guru, his Guru, that Guru, this Guru are different. No. The same one Guru principle, the Ishvara, the same Lord, Satchit Ananda, is manifesting through your Mantra Diksha Guru, in my Mantra Diksha Guru. So Gurus are not many. The principle of Guru is not many. That is to be noted. It is the same. That's why in the same Guru Stotra, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, there is another verse, Mannatas Jagannatho, Madguruhu, Jagadguruhu, Mamatma, Sarvabhutatma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Mannatas Jagannatho, my Lord, my Guru is the Jagannatha, the Guru of the world, the universe. Madguruhu, Jagadguruhu, my Guru, he is the Guru of the universe. It is one, that's why. It is the one Lord, Satchitananda, the same Lord, who manifests through different receptacles of the Guru. For you, it's your Guru who has given you the Mantra Diksha, because the Lord has manifested through that. You can see through him. But do not decry, because it's the same Guru manifesting through others too. But do not worry about that. Go on hearing about go to there, this thing, and see what he is telling and try to know. Just obey and do sing your Guru's instructions and go forward in spiritual life. Have faith. The inner Guru will guide you, because in you too, it is the same Satchitananda who is present. That is also very, very important. Same principle is in you too. So, what wonderful teachings of Sri Ramakrishna is telling us, is opening our eyes to a new reality. So, Sharadananda Maharaj is explaining that if, as the scriptures point out, the spiritual teacher's power to remove the darkness of ignorance is understood to be a special power of God Himself in the manner spoken of above, then another fact also must simultaneously be admitted as true, and that is this: the spiritual teacher is one and not many. The spiritual teacher is one and not many. Although the receptacles of this power or the bodies through which it is manifested are different, your spiritual teacher, your spiritual teacher, and mine are not different, but one only. How? It's the same principle, Guru principle, it's the same Ishvara, it's the same Lord, it's the same Parabrahma who is manifesting, the same energy, the Divine Mother manifesting to your Guru, my Guru. So there are no many Gurus, it's one principle. So, although the receptacle of this power or the bodies through which it is manifested are different, your spiritual teacher and mine are not different, but only one. That one being none other than that power, the power of the Lord, the Shakti of the Parabrahma, the power. As an example of this may be quoted the story in the Mahabharata of Ekalavya. The Mahabharata story Ekalavya is a very important story, and that has been quoted here. Who accepted, remember that name Ekalavya, who accepted as his teacher an earthen statue, who accepted as his teacher an earthen statue of Dronacharya and worshipped him in it with devotion and thereby acquired proficiency in archery. He was from the tribal community, he was from the lower caste, so the others were Kshatriyas. They were allowed from the princely thing to learn the archery. This tribal Ekalavya had the great desire to learn, so Dronacharya didn't accept him as his disciple on par with the prince there. So though Ekalavya was unhappy, but he took Dronacharya as his guru. He made an earthen statue of Dronacharya, kept him there before, accepted him as his guru, then went on practicing in the presence of his guru Dronacharya, and he mastered himself the art of archery because he had faith in that earthen statue of Dronacharya as his guru. So much of guru bhakti, so much of faith. He started practicing in front of that, and he developed proficiency in archery. He even overtook Arjuna and all other people. He got proficiency, he got expertise in archery, and he could overtake or even go beyond the knowledge of Arjuna and all the other great archers there. As an example of this may be quoted this from the story of the Mahabharata of Ekalavya, who accepted as his teacher an earthen statue of Dronacharya, who worshipped him in it with devotion and thereby acquired proficiency in archery. Reasonable as this fact is, it requires a great deal of time and sadhana for a man to accept it wholeheartedly. And once he accepts it, he has no alternative but to worship the spiritual teacher in the body through which that divine power has bestowed grace on him. The Master used to tell us, as an instance of this, what Hanuman, a bright example of steadfast devotion, said. The Master said, that Sri Ramakrishna said at one time, during the battle of Lanka, Ramachandra and Lakshmana were bound with a noose made of snakes by the great hero Meghanada. Who is Meghanada? The son of Meghanada is the son of Ravana. So his another name was Indrajit. Indrajit, he had won even Indra. His name was Meghanada, the sound of the clouds, thunder, Meghanada. So he was overpowered. He had such he had used such an astra or a missile, it bound with snakes, the Sarpastra. Rama and Lakshmana were bound by that. So Rama and Lakshmana were bound with a noose made up of snakes by the great hero Meghanada. Then they remembered Garuda, the eternal enemy of the snake, race of the snakes, and invoked him there. As soon as the snakes saw Garuda, they became frightened and fled in whatever directions they could. Pleased with his devotee Garuda, Ramachandra appeared before him in the form of Vishnu, who was the eternal object of worship of Garuda, and explained it to him that Vishnu had thus incarnated himself as Rama. But Hanuman did not like to see Sri Ramachandra assume the form of Vishnu, and the only thought he had in his mind was how soon he would reassume the form of Sri Ramachandra. Ramachandra did not take long to know that sentiment of Hanuman. Immediately after bidding goodbye to Garuda, he reassumed the form of Ramachandra and asked Hanuman, "Why were you disturbed, Hanuman? Why were you disturbed, my child, seeing me in the form of Vishnu? You are possessed of a great knowledge. You are a great Gnani, man of wisdom, Hanuman, my child, and it is of course not beyond your understanding that one who is Ramachandra is Vishnu too." Hanuman replied humbly, "It is true, my dear Lord, that the same Supreme Self, Parabrahma, has assumed both the forms, and therefore there is no difference between Lord Vishnu and Ramachandra, between the concerts of Sri Vishnu and that of Janaki, that is Ramachandra. The concert of Sri, that is Lakshmi, is Vishnu, and the concert of Janaki, that is Sita Mata, he is Ramachandra. But my mind, Hanuman told, but my mind is always anxious. But my mind, Hanuman told, is always anxious to see the feet of the lotus side concert of Janaki only. I want to see only Ramachandra, the concert of Janaki, Mother Sita, Ramachandra. Though I know that it is Ramachandra and Vishnu are one and the same. You are the avatar of Vishnu. It's the same Parabrahma, the one Satchitananda, who is Vishnu, and another form is you, Ramachandra. But yet, but my mind is Hanuman telling that Hanuman is telling Anjaneya, Hanuman is telling, but my mind is always anxious to see the form of the lotus-eyed concert of Janaki, that is Sita Mata, only. He is my all in all. Ramachandra, the form of Rama, though he may be Parabrahma Swarupa, for me, the form through which that Parabrahma has appeared to me, Ramachandra. So the concert of Janaki, Sita Mata, Ramachandra, he is my all in all. It is through that form that I saw the manifestation of the Divine Lord. It is through that form that I saw the manifestation of the Divine Lord and had my life's aim fulfilled. That's why I can enjoy only the form of Ramachandra, the concert of Sita Mata. Though it is the same Lord everywhere in all of them, I want only Ramachandra and Ramachandra alone. What a beautiful way. The example has been given, cited here by Shardananda Maharaj through the words of Sri Ramakrishna himself. So it gives so much of immense joy to hear all these things. Hanuman replied humbly when Sri Ramachandra asked Hanuman, "Why were you disturbed, my child, seeing me in the form of Vishnu? You are possessed of the great knowledge, and it is, of course, not beyond your understanding that the one who is Rama is also Vishnu too." Hanuman replied humbly, "My lord, it is true that the same Supreme Self has assumed both the forms of Ramachandra and Vishnu. And therefore, there is no difference. And therefore, there is no difference between the consort of Shri, that is Lakshmi, that is Vishnu, and that of the consort of Janaki, Sita Mata, that is Ramachandra. But Hanuman told, but my mind is always anxious. But my mind is always anxious to see the feet of the lotus-eyed consort of Janaki. Only Hanuman is replying, but my mind, O Ramachandra, is always anxious, Vyakulata, yearning, is anxious to see the feet of the lotus-eyed consort of Sita Mata, Janaki, only. Janaki Rama, Sita Rama, only. He is my all in all. Lord Ramachandra is all in all. That form is my all in all. Why? It is through that form. It is through that form that I saw the manifestation of the divine. It is through that form I saw the manifestation of the divine Lord and had my life's aim fulfilled. That's why Sharadanandaji Maharaj, through the words of Ramakrishna, is telling that whoever gives you the mantra diksha, the guru, mantra guru, there may be so many gurus, higher than or lower, there is no higher or lower, greater. But that form which has given you the mantra, that form which has shown you the manifestation of the divine Lord, Hanuman couldn't take his eye out of it. So he is my guru. Madguruhu Jagadguru, Amatma, Sarvabhutatma, Mannato, Jagannath. So that my guru, who has shown me the Ishtadevata, who has shown me the way to the Lord, I will revere him and him only. Many times in Guru Purnima and other places, I have told about that story of Ramayana. Ramachandra was visiting the Bharadwaja Muni's ashrama. At that time, Bharadwaja Muni was taking, the Guru Bharadwaja was taking Ramachandra, who had immense faith in Ramachandra. He was taking Lord Ramachandra, Lakshmana and Sita to all his cottage and showing them, because he knows, Bharadwaja Muni knows that it is Sakshat Parabrahma or Vishnu who's come in the human form. So he knew that Bharadwaja Muni. Only few of the rishis knew about it. All others thought he was just the son of Dasharatha. But some of the munis knew that it was Parabrahma, the Lord, the Vishnu, has taken the form of Ramachandra. So he's taking all of them to his disciples in different kutira, the hut. There were so many huts in that ashrama. They were called kutira. So he was taking all to all his disciples and showing Ramachandra, because let them have that luck to see Ramachandra. So Bharadwaj Muni was taking them. One of the disciples saw that his Gurudev is bringing Ramachandra, who is the Parabrahma Swarupa, the Lord. By the side, Bharadwaj Muni is coming. Now he was confused. What shall I do? Whom shall I prostrate first? Whom shall I do the pranams to? Is it my Gurudev or the Parabrahma Swarupa, the Lord, Ishvara himself, Vishnu himself taking the form of the human form, Rama, Lakshmana, Sita coming there? Whom shall I prostrate first? There's a confusion. But immediately, quickly woke up from that catch 22 situation. He went and prostrated first to his Guru, Bharadwaja Muni, and then to Ramachandra. Why? And he was asked, why did you do that? The Lord himself has come? No. Who is the person who showed me the path to the Lord? Who brought the Lord to my cottage, to my kutir? It was you, Guru. Oh, Guru, you brought that Lord to my cottage, but for you. You are the person who have shown me the path to the Guru. So for you, for me, you are greater. So first pranam to the Guru. So that's a wonderful idea we see there in Mahabharata, the disciple of that Bharadwaj Muni. Concept is so nice. That's why Ramakrishna is telling, through which Sharadananda Maharaj is telling, that Hanuman is telling Ramachandra is my all in all. It is through that form that I saw the manifestation of the divine Lord and had my life's aim fulfilled. So the Guru power, the Guru Shakti, it may be manifested in all the forms, but that was the form. That is the Guru who gave me the mantra diksha through which I got the path to the Lord. So for me, it is the highest. So very broad yet intense. Broad and depth. You can see that the depth is also there, the broadness is also there. That's very, very important. You should never become fanatical, but at the same time, you should not become too broad, go on accepting everybody and neglect your own principle, the Guru principle. That's the idea behind it. Yes, it may be the Lord who is present in everyone. So I need not disrespect them. I will have the same Gaurava or mine. Respect to them. So another example is given by Sri Ramakrishna himself in Gospel. The newlywed wife who has come to the house. So there are so many family members, the mother-in-law, the father-in-law, the brother-in-laws, and they are the brother-in-law's wives. So she will serve all of them, the father-in-law, mother-in-law, the brother-in-laws, the sister-in-laws, everybody she will be serving equally with great care. But the wife has a special relationship with the husband. Likewise, all gods and goddesses may be true. It's the same manifestation of the Lord. I will serve them. I'll go to their temples. I'll respect them. But my special relationship with my Ishtadevata, my Lord, that form which I like, have been chosen. The Guru who has given me the mantra diksha, that's something special. The faith in him, the devotion in him is something special. So that example makes it clear. So we will stop our conversation, the study of the great master for this year. We will meet in the next year and we'll continue the thing, but it should never stop. Nobody can stop you from continuing. You can read it even ahead of me. You can also, the book has been supplied to you in the form of the e-book. I send it to everybody with the link, not once, but twice. Then you have also the access to our YouTube channel. All that has been told about the great master is recorded there and it is there. You can go through that again. Meditate on that wonderful aspect of the life of Sri Ramakrishna, because if Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, all the other teachings on the Lord, they are figure of speech. It is just wonderful things. But is there any person who has practiced it in total, in perfection? That is Sri Ramakrishna has practiced everything. Then you can know how you can apply that teaching. That's why we need the life of Ramakrishna. So let us study intensely. Then we can understand scriptures in a much better way. Go back, study everything, revise, keep it in your heart, meditate on that. So now, if you have any questions, if you have any doubts, you can entertain.
Om Namo Narayana Maharaj.
Om Namo Narayanaya.
Firstly, very outskirts Maharaj. Thank you for the wonderful year of sharing with us this divine play of Sri Ramakrishna. I've thoroughly enjoyed it every day when we have come to this session. I want to clarify in today's talk, as you were giving the wonderful descriptions and relationship between Hanuman and Rama. Maharaj, I get the sense that this concept of purpose is very important. That we must understand our purpose. When we understand our purpose, then we will take the role of Guru very seriously and reach our ultimate goal of God realization. Um, we often do what we do, but we don't necessarily understand the goal, Maharaj. And I was grasping that today in your lecture. I just want to clarify this concept of purpose.
Yeah, important thing is to put the teachings of our Guru into practice That's why we need faith. So if we have that faith, we will immediately put the teachings of our Guru into practice and be blessed. Nothing special. We will be blessed. Our life will be blessed. That's all. Labha or profit is only to us. We will get the highest profit. We will be the highest selfish businessman, not to get smaller things, but to hit the highest jackpot you will get. By having the faith in God, you will get the highest thing.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh. Any other questions?
Hariam Swamiji, Colin Chetty.
Colin Chetty, please tell.
Swamiji, yes, this whole year has been most interesting, especially with the teachings from you and the readings from the great master. We have thoroughly enjoyed it, Swamiji, and very, very thought-provoking. So hopefully for the next couple of weeks, while we are absent from the lectures, that we continue to read and learn from the great master, and redouble our efforts and try and practice what the great master was trying to put across to our feeble minds. We thank you, Swamiji.
Yeah, your feeble mind has become strong now.
Yes, Swamiji.
Yes, Colin.
Om Namo Narayanaya, repeat Maharaj.
Om Namo Narayanaya, Pranil Bodhraj, please tell.
Swamiji, I'd like to share a personal experience, not
Wonderful.
so much a question.
Very happy.
I think over the past 6-7 months, listening to the experiences of the great master, getting to understand, master himself and the depth of what he did, and every single experience, has certainly helped me grow personally, from a perspective of dealing with daily life, simple things, before making big decisions or any decision. I think of the simple teachings of the master and these talks, and it's really helped me navigate through some difficult times. And I am actually quite concerned that I can't listen to the great master and the teachings over the next few weeks. And with everything happening in society, you need something to help guide you. So, Reverend Maharaj, I am extremely grateful to you for sharing this knowledge to us. And I only hope next year when we go, we get a larger number of people joining these classes, because the benefit, it's actually priceless. Thank you, Reverend Maharaj.
Yes, Pranil, you are very sincere. That's why the Lord has chosen you to give His teachings and make your life fruitful. The Lord Ramakrishna loves all of you, especially. That's why it's only some 40 people or 40 screens of you whom He has chosen to give His wonderful things to you. So you are the chosen few, because all of you are sincere.
Om Namo Maharaj.
Om
Sunny,
Namo Narayan. Sunny Jagwan, please tell.
Thank you. Maharaj, your loving guidance and chiding us towards spiritual life has made us feel that spirituality is so close, yet we think it is so far. That lesson has come through your intervention in our lives. I have no words to tell you how deeply I appreciate so much the love that you've shared with us. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunny. Thank you. Om.
Oh.
Namaste, Maharaj. Pavan here.
Namaste, Pavan. Please tell.
Maharaj, one request is there. So many of the Yeah, many devotees and some volunteers in Bangalore were asking, like, if we can get these classes on YouTube, because this is an office hours in according to Indian time. So if Sridharji can update it, so on YouTube channel, so these classes, so it will be really helpful for many more people.
Yeah, Sridhar Jagwant is just above your head. He is also in the class. Yesterday also I requested him. So the Lord should give him that, what you call, the kindness. He should be kind as to upload that, then all the people will be benefited. So it is everything is at the grace of mercy of Sridhar Jagwant.
Yes, Maharaj. Maharaj, if it is for Sridharji, maybe he might be occupied with something. So if we need any technical help, then we are ready to do also, some of us. We can share it. So
Wonderful, wonderful. We'll be very happy. I think I will ask our secretary and our the chairman to take your help wherever it is needed, Pavan. We'll be
yes,
very happy to get your help too.
yes, thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah.
We will most certainly use the help. We need all the support that we can, Maharaj.
Yeah, yeah,
The year 2021 will be a very important year for us as we
yeah,
start moving forward with our ashrama development. And on
definitely.
that note, Maharaj, before we finish today, I just
Yeah.
want to announce that we will be having Kalpataru, the Kalpataru Day celebration satsang on the
Yeah.
1st of January.
Morning
It'll
at
be,
8 o'clock or 8:30
yeah, 8:30 a.m.
to 10:30.
Yes, yes. And Maharaj, you've primed us for Kalpataru Day. Our Kalpataru Day celebrations have started
Hmm.
from the classes that we've had now. So
Yeah.
thank you, Maharaj.
Sridhar is already coming to the kutir. We are already preparing for the puja and all the bhajans and everything for Kalpataru. We have already begun the process. Yesterday, I contacted our revered Gautamanandaji Maharaj for the message of Kalpataru. So we are doing our work for Kalpataru Day.
Om Swamiji,
Yes, Mother Rajani Ma.
thank you thank you very much for all the very interesting lectures. It was really, really good, and you kept our spirits high during this COVID. And I'd like to wish you all the best, and to all the devotees, I'd like to wish you a very happy festive season, and do take care during this time. Thank you. Om Swamiji. Om.
Oh, Mother, thank you. Okay. If there are no further questions or any other doubts, can I tell the concluding prayer? If you have any doubts or questions, I can. I'm here to. But if you don't have, then I can conclude.
Maharaj, just one.
Yes, yes, Mother. Please tell.
Yeah, I think probably I know it, or I just want to hear your views on this, Maharaj, on
Please tell.
the relationship between the Mantra Diksha Guru and Thakur. How do we relate? Both are
See,
gurus for us. How do we
yeah.
relate them in our
No,
personal life?
Ramakrishna is the principle behind the Guru. Is the Guru Shakti. Is the principle through all the Gurus. You have been initiated by revered.
Dayatmananji Maharaj.
Yeah, revered Dayatmanji Maharaj is your Mantra Diksha Guru. And the principle and the power working behind revered Dayatmanji Maharaj or revered Gautmanji Maharaj or revered Ranganathanji Maharaj is Sri Ramakrishna. That is a power, that is a principle, that is the Lord who is working. So nothing to, no difference at all. The power there is Ramakrishna and the manifestation is your Guru. That's all.
Okay, Maharaj. And Maharaj, for this and
Yes,
for all, thank you very much.
yes, Madhu. Yes, Madhu. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Maharaj, Pranam Maharaj. Thank you very much,
Yes,
Maharaj,
yes,
for the
yes, Mother.
wonderful
Yes,
time we had.
yes, Mother. Okay, I will conclude with the prayer. Om Priyatam Pundarikakshaha Sarvayagneshwaro Harihi Tasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam Prenite Prenitam Jagat Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.